Alright, hey guys, and welcome back to another Xenoblade Chronicles X video. In this video I'm going to be taking on Gradivus the Headless Emperor using a defensive stance Gatling build. So the main reason why I decided to make the video over this build in particular is that I realized that I hadn't made a Xenoblade Chronicles X video in a while, and I do truly love this game. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time, and I wanted to come back to this game with something that was extremely memey. So I thought, what's something funny I could do? And I thought, what if I just HP tanked Gradivus the Headless Emperor? So that's what I'm doing here today. So I want to preface this by saying this build is in no way optimal. There's a million better ways to take on Gradivus, be it one-shotting with Blossom Dance, Decoy, Reflect, Topple Locking, Sleep Locking. Pretty much any other way you could go about this fight would be better and more optimal. I'm just doing this because it's funny. So to get into the build that I'm running, in case anyone actually cares, I'll go ahead and scroll through my gear real quickly. I didn't go out of my way to make sure I had really heavy armor to decrease my attribute resistances, but I really did not invest much into attribute resistances at all, and even my arms, I'm not running them with attribute resistance up battle traits because I want to have relatively low attribute resistances so that most of my tanking comes from defensive stance. Other than that, I'm just stacking a bunch of HP up and then resist Topple because Topple is very annoying. For weapons, my longsword doesn't really matter, so I just picked something that has some useful traits that would be useful for my Gatling. In this case, Appendage Crusher and Arts Gain TP. And then I'm running a total of 5 Appendage Crusher augments, since most of Gradivus' appendages that I'm going to be, or all the ones I'm going to be targeting, but most of his appendages in general, have a hardness of 0. Which this will bring them all the way down to -5, which is the minimum. And then outside of that, I'm just running some range attack up to increase my damage. Back over here onto my overall stat screen. One of the things that I think is that I wanted to mention, and I kind of alluded to a second ago, is that I have pretty low attribute resistances. I also, on top of this, have the tier 5 attribute resistance probes in place, which means that I'm getting 16 extra points of each attribute resistance, which means that my attribute resistances, instead of ranging from 0 to 15, actually range from 16 to 31. I tried doing this build a couple times without those, but it was extremely inconsistent, and those extra 16 points of attribute resistance really matter a lot, so I figured that basically having 30 as my highest against an enemy that uses all attributes, except for I think Beam, was good enough for me. So for the arts that I'm running Hellfire, Burning Slash, Cool Off, Defensive Stance, Missile Volley, Fire Carnival, Bullet Twister, and Bullet Storm. Missile Volley, Fire Carnival, and Bullet Twister are all the main DPS of this since I focused primarily on ranged attack, but Hellfire will still do decent damage because of my okay potential stat and the fact that I have 5 Appendage Crusher augments. Bullet Storm doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, it's mostly just here as a filler art and to help with TP management through its secondary and tertiary cooldowns. On top of that, it's a high hit count art, so it would be good for building overdrive count early on since my only green art is Cool Off, which I don't want to use because that'll get rid of my aura. Burning Slash is mostly just here for TP management. It can inflict thermal resistance down, which is pretty decent, but I also have Missile Volley for that, so it's not too important. Cool Off is here is a green art, and then also for removing debuffs, specifically the attribute resistance down debuffs that Gradivus can inflict. And then finally, Defensive Stance is my aura here, and it is pretty much the sole reason why this build works at all. It's going to be providing me recovery and halving the incoming damage whenever it's at level 6. For my skills, I'm running Steel Flesh and Fortified Flesh to increase my HP, because of course I am, and then Boosted Bullets and Secondary Accelerator to increase my DPS. Boosted Bullets does so by just giving me more range attack and making my arts do more damage, and Secondary Accelerator does so by reducing my cooldown and letting me use my arts more often. That's about all there is for the build, but I kind of wanted to talk about something real quick, which is that I've already recorded the battle for this, with the main reason being that, as I alluded to earlier, this is not a consistent fight, in part because this is a very silly build. But I did not do commentary for the fight because I didn't know how many attempts it was going to take. Turns out it was on the first try, but you live and you learn. I don't want to record it again. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut away now to the video. There's not going to be any commentary over it, but I will see you guys at the end of the battle for the outro. See you in a few.
Defensive stance. Kids, go! Hop on the bandwagon. Bullet Hey, hey!
So I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope that if you didn't find it interesting, you at least found it a little bit amusing. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on this. I do want to make some more Xenoblade Chronicles X videos in the coming weeks and maybe even months, but I don't really have any ideas off the top of my head right now for what I'm going to be doing. Either way though, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. See ya!